College Football Talk, a lengthy edition on the Sports Buffet podcast. Chew on this. Scott Wilson sat down. So did Bob Alvis, yours truly, and Will Castle. We talked college football bowl games, some new coaching hires, and we touched on last night's Wisconsin Whitewater Mount Union Division III National Championship game. We recorded this podcast on Thursday. Talked about how they have been meeting now 7 straight years. Chew on this on the Sports Buffet podcast, College Football Talk.
Need help filling out your bowl sheet? Don't listen to us. Bob Alvis, Will Castle, Scott Wilson. We're gonna run down the 314. We're gonna run down the 314 bowl games that they're playing this year and tell you what we think.
Did I tell you I'm sponsoring the bowl this year?
Oh, good.
Yep.
What?
Yep. It's called the Big Willie Castle Bowl.
The Big Willie Bowl.
Yep.
What's the what did the teams
Williams
get?
Stadium.
What do the teams get that participate? You know how everybody always gets a
the
goodie
swag.
bag?
Yeah. What they get? They get a watch from this company called Timex.
A bowling ball?
A bowling ball. A bowling pin.
Yeah, I was going to say
In the third season of Dexter.
But the most outstanding player, he gets the 4th season as well.
Have they put out the list yet of what everybody gets for going to what bowl?
I haven't seen
Normally they do, and I normally say, wow, I want to go to that bowl.
Yeah.
And normally it's not the big bowl I want to go to. It's one of the smaller
I
bowls.
still don't understand that. How is
that legal? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
No one ever explains this.
It's a loophole, I think.
Well, I mean, I can understand how the seniors could take it.
Yeah.
Because they're about to leave.
But the juniors and sophomores and the freshmen? Who knows?
Well, but then technically the seniors take it. Then they have to pretend that game never happened, and they have to take a loss regardless of what.
Just give it to them after the game.
Oh.
Then you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if somebody declares early for the draft, I guess they get parting gifts. I'll just go down the list of the bowl games, and we can say who we like and how much in terms of confidence, because most of you might do a confidence value for entertainment purposes only. First game is Saturday. All eyes will be on New Mexico when Temple and Wyoming meet in the ever-popular New Mexico Bowl. Scott Wilson.
I have Wyoming, and my sole reason is that Wyoming is closer to New Mexico than Philadelphia.
Good enough reason.
Okay.
I won't disagree with that.
I have Temple because Al Golden and John Chaney used to coach there. And Temple is honestly not
Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Did he coach?
He's motivator.
Honestly, they're no longer a laughing stock in football. I mean, that 8-4 used to be flip-flopped around, but
Yes.
I'm going to go Temple. I put them for 20 points out of a possible 35.
Really?
But
I had Wyoming as my one.
Will
hasn't made it.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Well, maybe we're helping
It's
Will
flying on
fill
the
out
seat of
his sheet.
his pants.
Utah State and Ohio.
I picked the Fighting Feldkamps. Ohio Bobcats. 28.
I picked Utah State for 13.
Oh, it looks like we're getting along really well here.
Just because I'm going to say Justin Feldkamp's magic wears off. Although I think they have been playing well since Benjamin Feldkamp was born, I believe.
No, they lost. They lost the MAC championship.
Well, that's because it wasn't a Tuesday night ESPN2 game, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, is this Idaho Potato Bowl? Really, the Potato Bowl?
The Potato Bowl.
Really? I'm guessing what their swag's going to be.
Really? Oh, well.
Daisy sour cream going
Sack of
in the
potatoes.
Daisy sour cream going in the gift bag on that one.
Brent Musburger says this one's for all the potatoes.
The New Orleans Bowl. San Diego State at 8-4 against the homestanding Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. I think they used to be a different school name. I think they used to be Southwest Louisiana. They renamed 2 of the
Is that the one
Louisianas.
the water boy played for?
I think I forget which one. I think
that
he played
made up?
for a fictitious
And it
school.
was fictive, but it was like
Southeast Louisiana State or something.
Yeah.
But Lafayette and Monroe used to be 2 other schools, like Southwest and maybe Northwest or Northeast. I don't know. People from Louisiana comment.
I think the Aztecs.
I took San Diego State for 17 because Marshall Faulk used to play there.
I took Lafayette because they are in the state of Louisiana, and so is the bowl game.
We've got great reasons for picking our winners on this one. How much?
24. Face it, these first 15 are all just total guesses.
Last 15 might be too. Marshall and Florida International.
In the Beef O'Brady Bowl.
Is this
What is
Isaiah Thomas's school?
Yes.
Does he coach the football team too?
No.
Does he have any direct involvement?
I think
to
Joe
knowledge?
Dumars coaches that.
First off, what is Beef O'Brady?
Is it beef? Is it dog food?
I don't know.
I don't have a dog.
Is there a Purina Bowl?
I think there used to be a Purina Bowl.
I think it's FIU. Virginia Tech played Marshall earlier this year, and Marshall was not good at all.
I picked Marshall for 18.
Wow, we're 0 for
Yeah.
4 so far.
Or are we 4 for 4? How many for
10.
Okay.
Somebody had to take Florida. Just click home.
I think we might be on the same page on this one. Poinsettia
so.
Bowl. TCU and Louisiana Tech.
got the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I took the Horned Frogs in the Big East. Wait a minute. No, the Big 12 conference.
The ultimate East or ultimate West.
And I took them somewhat big.
I had them at 33.
I have them at 23. I don't know where the hell all these things are coming from.
I'm pulling for Sam Eaton's team on this one. Thank you for getting
I'm not trying to get it on you. I'm trying to get
Wait there.
I'm trying to get it in sight.
Okay, Sam's a TCU. Did he go to TCU? Or
Yeah.
TCU is okay.
I took TCU for 23, which means they'll probably lose.
Is Louisiana Tech Terry Bradshaw's school? Or was that a different Louisiana school?
I think it is. I think it is. Next one, I have a feeling we're going to agree on too. Arizona State and Boise State.
Let's go with the blue fielders.
Yeah.
The Broncos of Boise State.
Got them at 35.
Man, it's like how far... He's like, we're going to go for the national championship. Nope, you're playing in the Las Vegas Bowl.
And I hope Arizona State loses every game they play next year, by the way. Because
There's a reason for this comment. What?
scumbag that guy is a coach, Todd Graham, deserves his ass kicked every week.
I thought you were one of the PG people.
I just violated my own policy. I'm up to PG-13.
We'll get into that
Did
later.
you? Okay, we'll get into it later. Scott is now ruling the podcast.
Now
and
I'm curious.
giving edicts. Nevada and well, you guys stay tuned. Nevada and Southern Miss.
I have the Golden Eagles in this one.
I've got Nevada.
Nevada. Southern Miss.
Southern Miss
Keep
came to
Virginia.
play in the championship game of Conference USA.
It's interesting. Out of these 70 schools playing bowl games, I wonder how many still have their original head coaches that they started with at the beginning of the year. I'm betting at least 10 don't. Southern Miss is
doesn't.
one of them.
Mr. Fedora.
That's why I picked Nevada for 19.
I have Southern Miss 25.
North Carolina and Missouri.
Hey, finally a team between two big conference teams. I have the Tigers.
I have the Tar Heels.
Tigers.
26.
And Missouri for 11.
I don't know if Gary Pinkel is sober.
Yeah, at least Gary
Coach this
Pinkel
game.
is the coach. North Carolina does not have a coach. For the game, at least.
Really?
Did they keep Withers on? For the
Well,
ball
I
game?
knew. Is he confirmed to go to Ohio State? I knew it was rumored.
Well, I don't know, but they already have a new coach, so.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they're going to let.
Well, he's at least
I
a
don't-
lame duck coach.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let Fedora coach the bowl game.
Right, I figured they would.
No, I think
Just have
normally
somebody
they
other
keep
than
the same
Withers.
guy.
Okay.
So, but Withers is rumored to be the co-defensive coordinator next year at Ohio State.
Well, good for him.
So he'll move up in the world.
That's
little-
the Belk Bowl.
The
really?
Little Caesars Bowl. That is actually
What is the Belk Bowl?
Oh, that's the next one.
No,
I'm
that's the
sorry.
Independence Bowl.
That's not.
No, we just did the Independence Bowl.
I know.
I
That's
know.
what I said. I think he thought that was the Belk Bowl.
Oh.
Yes. Go ahead.
Will's confusing me. The Little Caesars Bowl, Western Michigan and Purdue. I've got Western Michigan for 25.
One that we agree on. Purdue's terrible. I only have Western Michigan for 6, though.
Yet they make a bowl. That's the beauty of this system. Louisville and NC State in the Belk Bowl. I think this is a bowl in Charlotte.
It is. Charlotte, North
And it's
Carolina.
actually been moved to prime time, by the way, as well, because this always used to
8
be.
p.m. Yep.
This always
It used to be at like
noon
11
game.
o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yep. Well,
I got the Wolfpack.
moving up in the world, I got Louisville for 12.
NC State for 5.
NC State. I mean,
I was going to say how good do you feel about it, but you've seen NC State play.
That's a home game.
NC State always turns it on at the end of the year.
Do they have a Glennon at quarterback?
Yes, Mike Glennon is their quarterback.
I don't know what Louisville has except Charlie Strong as their head coach. The Military Bowl, Toledo and Air Force. How can you pick Toledo in the Military Bowl? I mean,
I picked Toledo. The game's being played in D.C. It's Air Forces all the way across the country.
Yeah,
I mean, Toledo, it's more than a bus ride.
There are
for
military
Toledo.
bases there, that you can get a bus ride to.
I've got Air Force for
Point.
33.
I had Toledo for 19.
Cal and Texas, another bowl game with two.
The Bridgepoint Education.
At least with one big conference.
The Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl. It just sounds like a government organization that probably shouldn't spend its money on sponsoring a bowl game.
I was thinking tires. That's Bridgestone. Remember? I have the Longhorns in this one
Well, for how much?
for 23.
I have California for 14.
Boy, we are really...
Could this be Matt Brown's swan song?
No,
Okay.
no way.
I'm going to defer to Scott Wilson as our college football expert here. He's watched a lot more of the good old game than we have this year. Notre Dame and Florida State. I've got FSU for 21.
I picked the Irish for 18.
Why?
I think they're a better team. A lot of my memory of Florida State is tainted by their game against Virginia, which they tried every which way possible to lose, and did. I think their quarterback has been vastly overrated. Didn't nearly live up to potential.
PJ Manuel.
Yes,
I do know him.
from Virginia. And the Irish are a better team. I think they got good weapons on offense.
Who is Notre Dame's quarterback?
Well, they've gone back and forth between Dane Christ and Tommy Reese.
Ben Christ, who is transferring.
Yes.
Most likely to Kansas, from what I understand.
Really?
Charlie Weiss.
Yeah.
I think he recruited Dane Christ, if I'm not mistaken.
They also have Golden Tate.
Oh, is he still there?
Huh? Golden Tate plays for
Maybe
Seattle.
not Golden Tate. Michael Floyd is their wide.
Dane Christ, didn't he have a brother? That played
Did he
at
have a
Notre-
brother?
Didn't he have a brother? I thought he had a brother that played at Notre Dame.
He also has a mom and dad.
I thought he had a brother that played at.
Not that I remember.
Okay, why was I thinking he was a second? Didn't Notre Dame have one quarterback on the roster that was like had a brother that played in college?
I thought that was.
Am I thinking of
It's not the Ainges.
the Clausens? Or do they have another brother floating around somewhere?
I think so.
Were you old enough to remember Casey Clausen at Tennessee?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I do have Scott by about, 6 years? 7? 8?
Maybe.
32 here.
27.
Okay, 5 years. I didn't know. I forgot.
It's okay.
Not about how old we were, but I forgot that too. But moving on.
Washington and Baylor.
Washington and Baylor.
The Valero Alamo Bowl.
Baylor for 24.
This is the one I actually was tempted to pick Washington because
Why?
what happened last year is Washington was playing Nebraska. Nebraska had murdered them in the regular season and was a much better team, and Washington killed them in the bowl game.
Right. Wasn't Washington like a 500 team guy?
Yes.
Okay.
And but I went with Baylor for 30.
24 for me.
They have the Heisman Trophy winner, and they're playing in Texas.
In the Dome, if I'm not mistaken. San Antonio.
Yeah, the Alamo.
Alamo Bowl is normally a decent bowl game, I think.
Yeah,
Because I remember that. What was it? Who did Michigan play that year?
that was Nebraska.
Nebraska?
The last
Where the
play when
laterals?
Tirico
Yeah.
was going crazy.
Yeah. Good bowl game. Moving on. The Armed Forces Bowl. Apparently, don't have to have a military team in this one, or either. I don't think Army and Navy
I don't
actually
think Mormons
qualified.
count as military.
The Bell Helicopter Armed Forces Bowl.
BYU 9-3, Tulsa 8-4.
Helicopter. I picked Tulsa, but only as 2.
Like a BYU.
BYU for 6. I don't know why.
I think we've had like 4 picks the same.
Rutgers and Iowa State in the.
New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
Gotta
This
guess
is the
where that
game
is.
in Yankee Stadium.
Are you shitting me?
What, they played one there last year?
That's.
If
Oh.
you hit the foul pole, it counts for a touchdown.
Kick it for 10 points.
Do you remember that game that Northwestern Illinois played? Was it last year or 2
At
years ago?
Wrigley Field? That
The
was
one where
last
you can
year.
only play one
One way?
One
Yeah,
way.
That was pretty cool.
That's pretty dumb.
I mean, that's like, half the Staples Center floor.
interception. Stop.
Half the Staples Center floor gets flooded, and the Lakers and the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals have to take it back to half court and check.
Is the winner
out.
Getting get the ball?
What bowl game are we on?
I had Rutgers.
We're still on the new era pinstripe ball.
Rutgers, 29 home crowd.
Rutgers for 5.
I always like the Cyclones.
Marquee victory for Iowa State against Oklahoma State. They used tragedy to capitalize off that a little bit. And a Friday night, which
Yeah.
I guess they don't play high school football in Ames on a Friday night. Mississippi State and Wake Forest, the Music City Bowl.
The Franklin American Mortgage Music City
Excuse
Bowl.
me. Out of all the bowl games
Good
I've
mess.
entered in so far to an entertainment-only pool, this one has gotten more one-pointers than any,
Really?
including mine, Wake Forest. DH, I love you.
I'm not going to say anything about DH or Stacy. Mississippi State, 17. When the SEC team plays the ACC team, I'm going to take the SEC team.
What's wrong with Wake Forest?
Wake Forest came out really well this season. They beat Florida State at home, and then starting with their game against us, they just tanked.
Moving on, Iowa and Oklahoma.
In the Insight Bowl. Used to be Insight.com. I guess they got rid of the .com.
They don't have a website anymore.
They're just Insight.
This, to me, screams Sooners.
Which means Iowa wins.
Yeah, I picked Oklahoma.
I did as well, 28.
You gotta make a bet,
34.
They're like, when Oklahoma wins, I get an extra day off. You gotta produce or some shit.
Yeah, but I have nothing. I have no allegiance to Oklahoma.
What would be awesome is if Oklahoma wins, Kirk Ferentz goes to Kansas City to coach the Chiefs like they're maybe talking about, and Bob Stoops returns to Iowa and coaches Iowa.
What universe are you existing in right now?
What?
Why would Bob Stoops take the job at Iowa?
Bob Stoops is the one that said after 7 years at one place the message gets old. He's been there more than 7 years.
Yeah, why would he go to Iowa?
He's from Iowa. He coached at Iowa. That's why he'd go to Iowa. Why did Gus Malzahn go to Arkansas State, for God's sakes, when he had much more lucrative job offers
like to go
at
back
North
home.
Carolina
It's a
and
good
other
program.
places? Name me one thing you like about Arkansas State before we go on.
We beat him this year.
Okay. Well, that is one thing. Texas A&M and Northwestern.
Meineke
Sherman.
Car
Oh,
Care.
at the Meineke Car Care Bowl of Texas.
Mike Sherman is still in the kid's driveway being fired on the phone by Billy Brine.
I had A&M.
Needless to say, Mike Sherman will not be coaching in this game, folks.
I had A&M at 21.
Northwestern at 15.
I thought Northwestern was already in another bowl. Was there another? Was there?
They get to play 2 this year.
Yeah. Double dipping.
Play 2. Let's play 2.
Or Ernie Banks was coaching him in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what game that. Oh, what? That's gonna bug me now. What game I thought?
No, you looked at something wrong. They're only in one, trust me.
Okay, I trust you.
I like that he's looking up to
Sun
make sure
Bowl.
they're not in 2.
I typed the damn sheet right back.
The Hyundai Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas.
Georgia Tech
I knew
84,
Kumar.
Utah 7-5.
I had the Yellow Jackets in this one.
Yeah,
Tough
Yellow
first
Jackets.
year for Utah in the Pac-12, by the way.
16 for me for the.
Hey! We're exactly
Wow.
right. 16.
8:15 on a Thursday, December something or another. Scott and I
Don't
agree.
date the podcast.
No, it probably needs to be dated. Moving on, the where's the Liberty Bowl?
Liberty
Sorry.
Bowl.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Memphis, Tennessee. The mighty Bearcats of Cincinnati versus the Commodores of Vanderbilt.
We should have Will do
Yeah,
this
no
early.
kidding.
3:30 p.m. December 31st.
ESPN or ABC games, which is very interesting. I'm sure the masses will be tuned in on that one.
Which means it'll probably be Craig James.
I thought ESPN was showing all the games.
ABC's got one. This is the one.
Ooh,
Doesn't
really?
tell you that on your fancy little
No,
dandy phone.
It just just says the date and
I
time.
think ABC also has the Capital One Bowl casino.
Sorry,
That's what
Scott.
I've been told by my news director.
Vanderbilt, 27.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I had Cincinnati's 31. Vanderbilt's not a good team.
Somebody's getting some points on that one, aren't they? Didn't they? They beat Wake Forest, didn't they? Or did they play Wake Forest?
Yes,
this
they
year?
beat Wake Forest.
That's why I picked Vanderbilt, because I'm picking Wake Forest. Illinois and UCLA. UCLA does not
In
deserve
the
to be.
Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl.
This is a horrible.
Sorry to
matchup.
interrupt.
Yeah, I get one thing here.
UCLA does not deserve to be in a bowl at 6 and 7. And also, the interesting thing about this one, they should put winner gets to keep coaching on the line between Zucker and Neuheisel because they're both out. UCLA's got
That
Jim,
really would be a great
UCLA's
like
got
a-
Jim Moore. Thank God to get him out of the booth.
Does Neuheisel have money on this game?
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe he does have a bowl pool sheet. It wouldn't surprise me. By the way, what a disappointment at UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually liked their previous coach, and I don't remember his name.
Carl Durrell,
Yes.
who is now with the Miami Dolphins, the
Um,
receivers coach.
He did a better job than
This used to be the Poinsettia Bowl. No, this used to be the Emerald Nut Bowl, didn't it?
Where is it?
Is it in San Francisco?
Yeah.
What was that bowl? Was it
Was it,
Bowl?
was it the Emerald?
Yeah,
Nut?
Tech
What
played it
Tech
in
in
one
it?
year. They had
I think that was like the
both
first
teams on the same side of the field.
Really?
It was. It's played. I think at Pac Bell.
Yes, it is. At least it was when
Yeah, Tech played. I want to say Air Force.
Air
in the
Force, and the
inaugural.
game actually was still going on when the new year started.
Yeah. Tech
And it
won
was
overtime,
and it was
right?
joined in late because
No,
ESPN
they won
had
by
something on
7.
beforehand.
Yeah, it was a Wizards game.
Yeah.
Where
I
were
have
we?
Illinois,
I do too. 22.
13.
Zucker's good. He's a good recruiter.
Here we
Lousy
go.
X
Finally
and
to the
O's
game
coach.
that Will cares
Oh,
about.
I get to get cut off right there.
The Chick-fil-A Bowl. The Cavaliers of Virginia versus the Tigers of Auburn. December 31st at 7:30 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Auburn has. Let's first off review. Auburn has no offensive coordinator now. Auburn also has no defensive coordinator for this game.
Where'd they go? They died? Food
Chisholm,
poisoning?
Ted Roof, who was a defensive coordinator.
X.
No, didn't he just leave?
I
He
thought
get-
they fired him.
Well, anyway, he demoted himself by going to Central Florida to coach with O'Leary, Mr. Lie on the old resume.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Then Gus Malzahn takes the glamorous job at Arkansas State of the Sun Belt
Here's
Conference.
what I don't get.
Shizik's going to call the defense, and
Why can't you just wait until the damn bowl game's over with before you go?
Section H, row C, C3 is going to call the offense.
I mean, why is the coach just leaves like,
You're
Got to
not-
get a head start on recruiting. I mean, you asked.
Yeah, it's lame.
Alright.
And for those reasons,
Virginia for 4.
I have the Cavaliers winning.
Is it
How
paying
much?
you to write Virginia on a sheet of paper when it's not followed by Tech?
20. I wrote UVA. That gets around that.
There we go.
Does it pay you to write UVA on a sheet of paper?
No, I could write sucks after it.
Oh, okay.
Fine. Well, did you write that on the goal sheet? It's like alcohol has been induced into this podcast when it hasn't been. We're getting a little loopy here. I don't discourage that though. Houston, who lost so much. Oh, go. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to see
Sorry.
which game. Oh, the Ticket City Bowl in Dallas, Texas. The Cougars, right? Houston?
Yes.
Versus the Nittany Lions, the sex offenders, the pederasses of Penn State University. Don't bring those little children, everybody. Or next
No,
thing
you can. Sandusky's in the hole right now.
We don't know what else got going on.
What?
All right.
What bowl did this used to be?
I think this
not
is
the Cotton Bowl.
fairly new. This is a
But
2 or 3 year.
It's a pretty good matchup for a new bowl game.
All right, 2 or 3 years old. So
Okay.
it's not the
Is
first.
this one-
There's
is this going to be in Dallas State?
no bowl game is in its first year. This
Yeah.
is a new bowl game. I'm pretty sure this is a.
You just said no bowl
I
games
said
in
no
its
bowl
first
game is in
year.
its first year. I
This
said
is a
it's
new
second
bowl
or
game.
third year.
Yeah.
Newer, excuse me. Newer.
You did say
All right.
new and newer are two different things.
Let's review here before we get to our picks. Houston lost a ton of money for Conference USA when they lost to Southern Miss
It was like
because it knocked them out of the
$17 million.
BCS. Right. Thank you, Southern Miss. You'll probably get banned back to the Metro now, which is no longer in existence. Penn State, meanwhile, has a list of about 35 coaching candidates, according to ESPN's Rumor Central page, and they have a guy from either Navy or Army, one of them, I can't remember which, turned them down. What does it say for Penn State when a guy from Navy or Army is
Can
turning
you
you
imagine
down?
the triple option at Penn State?
I don't think Tom Bradley's getting that job, by the way, either. He's rumored to be getting one of the higher ups for that Pitt job.
That you would have to
I've got
be-
Houston for 8, by the way.
You would have to be a fool or the worst coach in the world to have to want to take that job right now.
I disagree.
I do too. Look at all the tradition at Penn State. I mean, you're in the Big Ten. You got a good.
And apparently they've had a good tradition of 15 years to touching little boys.
Penn State screams for a guy like Tony Dungy. They scream for a guy who can be a rebuilder. I mean, and it's not. It's, you know, the whole thing is in this whole Penn State thing. The one group of people who are, you know, just in a terrible predicament and have not done a damn thing wrong are the players.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, because I thought about this. I thought, should the NCAA put them on any type of probation? Absolutely not.
No, they didn't do anything wrong.
What's any, you know, and I will say this, though. I think other people on that coaching staff knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
Houston for
I think Penn State in this one.
Okay.
I don't buy the Cougars. I had them for 3.
Kevin Sumlin will not be coaching Houston in this game. He'll be watching the Meineke Car Care Bowl in a press box. They do say that's what most coaches that come to a new team do is they watch the game from the one of
Joe
the suites.
Paterno would have been watching from a press box.
Fractured his hip again.
Jeez.
He also has lung cancer.
Just not having
God,
a good,
Scott, Mr. Cheery over here, just adding more things. I
just not having a good year. That Joe
That was
Pop
a brought
guy.
up the pedophiles.
You know,
I didn't bring up anything.
Hey, Will did.
damn right.
Oh,
Which one are you going? Oh, that.
Oh, are you
the
going in
Outback.
order?
What? No, not by the.
Okay.
It's
Sorry.
just grouping them in the same like.
the Outback.
Okay. The Outback Bowl. The mighty Spartans of Michigan State versus the Bulldogs of Georgia, Tampa, Florida, January 2nd at 1 p.m.
Mark Richt, who was probably on his last life
Not anymore.
after did they start 0-2?
Yes, they lost to Boise and they lost to South Carolina.
And Mark Richt was probably looking for real estate in Athens, Greece, mind you, not Georgia, and has now resurrected
the singer,
himself.
folks.
Thank you, I thought so.
That was
I should deserve some more laughter, to be honest with you.
We don't have a laugh track.
Michigan State, I think I think they're a pretty good team too. I think this could be one of the better bowl games, honestly.
This should be a good game.
I like Georgia for 9.
I had Georgia for 27. They have to be a little
Interesting.
embarrassed by that second half against LSU, though. Score the first 10
What about
points and
Michigan
then you give
State
up
against
42 in a
Wisconsin?
row.
Oh,
Shouldn't they be a little embarrassed? Just
At least they didn't lose by 30 points.
loss is a loss.
You know, Michigan State deserves a little karma
what they
on
do
the
wrong?
flip side from their other game against Wisconsin this year.
Well, it's not like they cheated.
Well, maybe Wisconsin deserves some good karma.
Again, best acting was that punter from Wisconsin. I got hurt. No, you didn't. That cost that was the game changer.
Yeah, Capital One.
Doing the Capital One Bowl, the Cornhuskers of Nebraska versus the Gamecocks of South Carolina, 1 p.m. January
If you
2nd.
live in Lynchburg, you can watch this on ABC 13
ABC 13.
Or
coverage
Roanoke.
in Calgary.
Shameless plug.
or Danville. Or
Fuck the
New
cops.
or the New River Valley. Zinger, folks. Zinger.
I think they figured that out. I have Nebraska.
I've got Nebraska for 34.
Wow. What's your reasoning? I
Uh,
mean, South Carolina's a good team.
I'd be more scared to go on the sidelines if I messed up for Bo Pelini than I would if I messed up for Steve Spurrier.
Good point. I had Nebraska for 9.
Steve Spurrier screw up. I'm going to tell you a story, son.
He'd just throw his visor down.
One time, I was chewing spall.
That's it. You don't get to go golfing with me, son, on Saturday.
Go fishing.
Bo Pelini, you messed up for him. You don't get to go back on the plane.
He dropped out mid-flight.
Gator Bowl.
Gator Bowl. The TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl.
The what?
The TaxSlayer.com.
Slayer?
TaxSlayer.com
Oh my
Gator
God.
Bowl. The mighty Buckeyes of Ohio State versus the Gators
Isn't this
of Florida.
wasn't this the national championship game a few
Yeah,
years
the
ago?
funny thing, too, is this screams of something the NCAA tournament would do.
Tebow will come
If
down
Irvin-
with on Pegasus of wings.
This
float down,
screams
say
of
ah.
something the NCAA tournament would do if Billy Donovan had left Florida and then coached at Ohio State, 2 years later. Oh, wait, the NCAA tournament doesn't look at that stuff when matching up teams. Wink. I've got Ohio State for 11.
I've got the team that the
Is
bowl
Florida
is
good?
named after. The Gator Bowl. Florida's okay. Ohio State, I had Florida
Give me the
for
scouting
22.
report on Florida real quick.
Well, the only thing I really know about Florida is they've had some quarterback issues because they had this guy Brantley, and then I think
Yep.
they benched him and went to a different quarterback.
Is Will Muschamp the right guy?
This is year 1, right? I believe. for
Yes.
him. Yeah, I think
Okay.
he'll be fine.
I like Ohio State for 11, by the way. Rose?
Oh, skipping.
Yeah.
Oh, doing that.
How'd you get to the copy?
Because it has the BCS ones listed up
Oh,
top,
okay.
and then
No, sorry, we're on the Rose.
The Rose Bowl presented by Vizio. Vizio, maker of great television.
Does not say that on there.
It does. Rose Bowl presented by Vizio. Pasadena, California.
I wasn't disputing that. I knew it didn't say Vizio, the maker of great television.
No, I added that part.
Yeah, I knew
myself.
you did.
Vizio, maker of great television, except if you live in the Bob Albers household.
It's working a little bit
The
better
Mighty
now.
Ducks of Oregon
All due respect.
Mighty
I'm
Ducks.
sorry. Go ahead.
versus the Mean Badgers of Wisconsin, January 2nd.
Props to the Rose Bowl for not becoming a pimp to advertising and putting the name ahead of the game.
Wasn't it the Rose Bowl presented by City? Before?
Yeah, well, the Rose Bowl is sacred.
Yeah, well, you
it's
didn't
like-
see the AT&T Rose Bowl for
I don't
years?
think it was ever had anything put ahead of it. I think it was always the Rose Bowl presented by because they used to call it the Rose Bowl game. It's kind of like the Ohio State
Yeah,
University.
that's true.
Can we bring back Keith Jackson for this?
No, we can't. Wisconsin though gets a 10-point view in my eyes.
I have the Badgers too.
I don't know
but
who's
only
doing
4.
this game. I'm not sure. AwfulAnnouncing.com, folks, has all the announcer.
Yes, watch the top 10 announcing gaps of the Earth Circle.
I've not watched that yet, but yeah, I like Wisconsin. I think it could be a fun game though. What did you say you had? I wasn't listening.
I have
Sorry.
Wisconsin too.
For how much?
4.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
So, sorry, not that confident, or you just Chip Kelly getting some NFL love, by the way. He could be a coach in the NFL.
Oregon tends to not perform well in bowl games.
Enough said.
That's true.
Fiesta.
Yes.
The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. The Sooners. No, the Cowboys of Oklahoma State versus the mighty Cardinal of Stanford.
You know, I was just thinking.
Glendale, Arizona, 8:30
A
p.m.
site I have not been to in quite a while is Sporkle. This
Yeah.
would be a great Sporkle quiz. Name all the sponsors of
Yeah.
the bowl games.
Well, they have to make a new quiz every year.
Yeah, well, true that. Because the Fiesta Bowl, they had who was it? Tostitos. They've had that on there for a
They
while.
had that's been a long.
It's been, I want to say, at least 10 years. I think.
I mean, it always used to be you knew who. Tostitos was Fiesta.
FedEx Orange
FedEx
Bowl.
was the Orange Bowl. No, it was the Nokia Sugar
Well,
Bowl.
before that, it was USF and G. I'm gonna take you back old school.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Well, before it was BCS. I mean, but
Yeah, oh,
but
yeah.
And then what was it? Oh, the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. But then now
What was USF and G anyway?
it was a sugar organization, the United States Sugar Foundation or
interesting.
Sugar Federation, I believe. I guarantee someone's googling this.
Back to the business at hand.
Anywho,
Oklahoma State and Stanford. Both teams come in at 11-1. I think.
No,
this could
I
be
didn't think Oklahoma State had played a game because they don't have a record.
Sorry, you got one of the original bowl sheets
That's
without the record. I think Oklahoma State.
It's okay, I knew what their record
I know,
was.
ha ha ha, Zinger. I think Oklahoma State wins this game. 29 points on it. Although I think it's a good game.
I have the Cowboys as well. I hate saying that. 8 points.
Scott Wilson saying a lot of things he never thought he'd have to say.
Yeah, we'll have another one here in a
We'll
minute.
be going to church this weekend. Sugar Bowl.
The All-State Sugar Bowl, New Orleans, Louisiana, January 3rd at 8:30 p.m. The Wolverines of Michigan versus Scott Wilson's Hokies of Virginia Polytechnical Institute.
How are those tickets going?
Next topic.
Not going
No.
well still?
I think as of last check, Tech had sold about 2/3 of their allotment.
How's Michigan doing? Any idea?
Not much better.
Really interesting. This
I thought you were trying to get tickets and
No.
no. I was
I've been to
just-
the Sugar Bowl.
Why is this game not selling for Tech?
For one thing, the cheapest ticket through the university is $120 for nosebleed.
Okay.
It doesn't even include airfare and
Yeah,
that's a 15-hour drive depending on how.
and I do think at some point you get complacent going to bowl games.
Well,
I mean, I hate to say that they're spoiled, but
they're spoiled.
memo to Tech fans: you shouldn't be in the national championship game every year. So if you're thinking that, and you're going to boycott these
yeah, how else?
big
Where
bowl
else are you
games,
going to
it's
go?
not like
Yeah.
you're in the Alamo Bowl, for God's sake. Anyway, sorry. Don't mean to
okay.
step on the
Sorry.
Hokies' feathers.
I have Michigan.
So do I.
Really?
Yeah,
I can sleep well at night with myself having Michigan.
Well, I
don't know
mean-
if you can.
Tech has not really played that very good teams this year, and the best team they've played they lost
They've
to
lost
twice.
twice.
I never thought this was the year that they would be the best. I thought this was the rebuilding year, and I'll continue to think.
I
that.
love you, Logan Thomas and Zach McCray. I wish you well. If you want to use this as bulletin board material, fine. Michigan for 30.
Okay, I only have them for 12.
Okay, well.
Well, you can sleep at night.
Yeah.
But I like to give Andy Shepard a load of grief, saying that Michigan will be lucky to get within 60 points of Tech and all this good stuff. But I did make up for it though because I got him a Brady Hoke autograph picture.
I'll agree with what you're saying about Tech fans getting complacent because your team that dominates the ACC every single year, and you're like, oh, this is going to be the year with
Like dominating the NFC West.
Yes.
That's the biggest.
But you're the only. And here's the thing: they lose the big bowls. It's like don't get complacent until you continuously win the big bowls, but just can't get to the national championship game. They still find ways to lose the big bowl. But I can understand just being like, oh, going to this bowl again that really in the grand scheme means absolutely nothing because it's not for a national championship. Here's the thing: the team's getting the money. The team gets the same amount of money regardless. I'm just saying, you make the bowl games worth where winner gets this much money, loser gets this much money. Maybe it's worth, maybe fans are just cheering like, oh, sweet, we get that new gymnasium.
Well, the thing is, too, I went to the Sugar Bowl in 2005, and the tickets were about $75. And now you've jumped from 75 to 120 in 6 years. That's a little much.
Yes, that's a lot of much. The Discover Orange Bowl.
Discover.
Miami, Florida, January 4th. The Tigers of Clemson versus the backwards squeal like a pig West Virginia Mountaineers, 8:30 p.m.
Bet you prepaid Discover cards in the gift bag on this one.
Doesn't this seem like the Gator Bowl?
The Big East should honestly have their BCS Bowl revoked.
Mm-hmm.
And
So what was
now,
the rule this year with the Big East? Like, all three teams have the same record?
what was wrong with the Big East?
No, what? How was it West Virginia got to go? Because wasn't it some sort of... I remember seeing something on a crawl.
I think they were the tiebreaker.
West Virginia and Cincy definitely had the same record.
What about
I'm
Pitt?
looking at it right here. No,
Yeah,
Pitt
Pitt
was 6-6.
Okay.
And Louisville was 7-5.
So what was
I
it?
think
It was-
if Louisville had won,
But it's conference record. It's not the overall record.
Yeah,
that they
and
care
then
about.
whoever had what was it, West Virginia guy because they had a higher BCS ranking? Is that how they got?
believe.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, after you get out of the BCS, after you get out of the tie-ins, you can really do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, Big East 2 does not mean you have to take the second place team.
Correct.
It means you take the second choice. I knew you knew that.
They have only
Telling-
7
telling
conference
everybody
games.
else.
Okay.
They play only 7 conference games in the Big East, so they were like 5-2.
Well, they don't deserve a BCS bowl, especially when they're having to bring in teams from the Pacific time zone.
Yeah,
San Diego State and Boise State. You definitely don't deserve a BCS game. I've got Clemson for 31. I think this is absolutely a ratings nightmare in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny. This game and the Sugar Bowl game, I think if you look at them as football games, they're both good matchups. But people just want something better in the Orange Bowl and the Sugar
Why
Bowl.
is Clemson and West Virginia a good matchup? I'm not saying you're a liar. I just don't know.
No, I mean, I think they're 2 solid teams. The Clemson's got a lot of exciting players on offense. And West Virginia generally does too. They have a good quarterback.
Okay.
I picked Clemson as well, but not as high, 15.
Now the
15?
Yeah.
Big East is they have to ACC or the Orange Bowl has to pick the ACC and Big East champion, right? Is that what it is? That or is it?
It's not that hard fest as...
But the
Well,
ACC champion that's a guarantee, right?
If as long as they didn't make the national championship.
Yes.
Or something. But I thought the Big East champion was the. It seems like it's kind of like the Rose Bowl. I mean, the
Well,
Rose
last
Bowl
year-
always takes the
the Big Ten.
Big Ten,
Big Ten,
Pac-10,
yeah.
if available.
Yes.
Last year, Tech played Stanford. Obviously,
Yeah.
Stanford didn't win the Big East.
Yeah.
They might in a few years though.
There is a pecking order, though.
Because I mean,
Where was
let's
the Big
face
East last year?
They were in the Fiesta Bowl as UConn. They played Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, sure.
Trash.
South Maryland working out for you, Randy Edsel.
I mean, of the games, watching Tech versus West Virginia would have been a better game to watch, just the fact that they have a built-in rivalry
Right.
and they hate each other. But that's about it. So we're not going to skip to those 2 other games that are before the Cotton. Oh no, yeah, the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, Texas. The Kansas State. Kansas State Wildcats versus the Razorbacks of Arkansas. January 6th. 8 p.m.
I would think that Kansas State probably has one of the oldest living coaches alive.
Bill Snyder.
Okay,
Yeah.
redundant. The coaching him and Bill Snyder, and he does a great job because Ron Prince tried to take that job, former UVA defensive or offensive coordinator.
That was defense.
I think you're right, and he failed miserably. I mean, and let's be honest too, Manhattan, Kansas is not the easiest place to recruit to. That's why I give Frank Martin credit for doing it in basketball, and before that, Huggy.
Well, that and the fact that Frank Martin's mobbed up. You ever looked at him?
What was Huggy?
Just looks like a mobster.
Yeah.
Just
What does Huggy look like? Who? Bob Huggins.
Well, in his tracksuit, not much anything.
Scott Wilson, folks, he's here all week.
These are two teams that really feel left out, I think.
Kansas State for 3, although I don't feel good about that. Hissing the 3-point.
I don't think Kansas State's all that good. I had Arkansas for 26.
I'm just not. I mean, this is, honestly, I would almost pick the Afghan national team against Arkansas just because I can't stand Tommy Petrino, who apparently gave Todd Graham lessons on how to leave a job. Pittsburgh and SMU will get
Another team.
But who used to be the sponsor of the Cotton Bowl? Because it didn't used to be
Mobile.
AT&T. Mobile One Cotton Bowl, yep. Okay. Anywho, the BBVA Compass Bowl, Birmingham, Alabama. For some reason, and a non-important bowl is being played after some of the important bowls. So
Two non-important bowls.
Yes.
January 7th at 1 p.m., the Panthers of Pittsburgh versus the Mustangs of Southern Methodist University.
I've got to, in honor of Kyle Haney not being here, something he would want to be talked about. How many of these bowl games are on January 1st? A whopping 0, I believe.
Because the NFL.
Granted, but still, January 1st used to be reserved.
Yes.
I would think you used to have like 4 or 5 college bowl games, and that was it. Maybe you'd get maybe before the national championship was even thought of, you'd get.
Was it like that when it fell on a Sunday?
I don't. Well, see, I don't remember. Christmas
Yeah,
and New
well,
Year's
because
falling on
it almost
Sunday all the time.
it seemed like it used to be the NFL was done,
Yeah.
before New Year's.
Playoffs started the last week
Yeah.
of December.
Yeah.
It seems like it used to at least, or the first week of January.
I mean, back when there were still you had consistently at least 15, 20 bowl games. Give or
Back
take?
in the day,
back in the
Yeah.
day, but it's like bowl games started on Christmas
yeah.
and they went till New Year's. It's
'Cause it-
like the Hawaiian
yeah.
Bowl or the Pineapple Bowl.
It used to be the Blue Gray Classic, which was the All-Star game on ABC
Yeah.
at noon. Then it was the Hula Bowl,
Yeah.
I think, at 3:30.
Then you had
it.
a smattering of bowl
Yep.
games, but normally it's just a couple because you had the Peach Bowl was always New Year's Eve, stuff like that. But then New Year's Day it was turn any channel you're going to see a bowl game on, and that was
Right.
fantastic.
Now you get to see all of them because really none of them are in competition
Yeah,
with each other anymore.
that is the downside.
SMU for 32. I hope they beat the hell out of Pitt. Well, actually, no, I don't. I don't have any ill will against the Pitt
Sounded
players.
like it the way you
I don't
said
have
it.
any ill will against the Pitt players. I just have absolute dissent for Todd Graham. But he's gone.
Now that we're talking about Pitt,
Yeah, would you get on?
Go ahead.
What's the issue?
He told his players. Well, first off, the night before he spoke to like 300, a Pitt booster gathering. Oh, Pitt's a great place to be. Proud to be a Panther. Everybody should want to be a Panther. Not given permission to interview for the. I'm going off report. So if Todd Graham's listening to this, I'm just repeating what I was told by media outlets. Todd Graham was not given permission to interview for Arizona State. Interviewed for it anyway. Supposedly he was on their list. I forget. He was on there. Well, that Arizona State job hadn't been open.
not very long, they
No.
thought June Jones was going to be
Right.
there.
Well, anyway, Todd Graham had been on the list because he coached at Tulsa and wanted to get the hell out of there and do a better job.
Well, that's ironic that they're playing SMU.
He got the job at. Why is that ironic?
With June Jones.
Yes, it is. Very ironic. Winner gets to coach Arizona State. Anyway, told his players by text message that he was leaving, which I consider
It's a dick
a
move.
little, yes.
If it said like peace,
Right. And
I'm Audi 5000,
and
yo.
then I read further. His quarterback threw for like 321 yards in the game against, I think, UConn. He said, well, the quarterback did okay. No, he didn't do okay. He threw for it might have even been 421. It was at least 321, though, which to me is better than okay. Anyway, this guy just seems like a royal.
D-bag.
Yes. So I wish him nothing but ill will at Arizona State. He used to coach under Rich Rod at West Virginia.
Really? Well, that's
And somebody
right there.
posted on Twitter, it might have been, it was probably a writer, Somebody said, I hope Rich Rod throws 80 on him. I don't know if there's ill will between him and Rich Rod. I guess there's going to be a little bit of a competition rivalry now that Rich Rod's at Arizona.
Oh, he got the Arizona?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But anyway, I mean, this Graham guy just seems like a... And Pitt has now had 5 head coaches in the span of 1 year. Wanstead coached them last year.
Yeah.
Was forced to resign before the bowl game. So they had a different guy coach them for the bowl game.
Okay.
They hired Mike...
I don't remember his name.
Mike, I don't remember his name, who got convicted. He got hired on like the 31st, or then got domestic. I think he got hired on the 31st. Got a domestic felony abuse for
Beat his woman
domestic abuse. Fired on the 1st. Then they bring in Graham, and now Graham's assistant, who's probably going to be going with him to Arizona State, is coaching him for this game. At what point does, and I know Pitt. From what I heard, Pitt's athletic director, Steve Peterson, has done an outstanding job getting Pitt into the ACC and everything. Mm-hmm. But at what point does he deserve to have some responsibility attached to his leg on this one? I mean, first off, you probably shouldn't have fired Wanstead. Secondly, the guy that's getting domestic abuse, I don't know what happened in his past, if he'd had, some history of this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you hire a guy who... apparently Graham is known for kind of, because I think he's from Arizona too. So I don't know. I just think Steve Peterson also, by the way, was the athletic director at Nebraska and fired Frank Solich when Solich was like
9-3.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think that Steve, and Casey and I were talking about that
And he
today.
hired Bill Callahan. That's his...
Strike 6. Let me bring this up real quick before we get back into the bowls. Liberty hired a new coach today, Turner Gill. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a good move, but we don't know. Liberty has not made the playoffs. And Jeff Barber, the athletic director at Liberty, has hired some coaches that, have not had great success yet. I mean, they might, but they might not. I think we focus mainly in Division I of football, basketball. But when you're local, you can look at other programs like baseball, stuff like that. At what point does the athletic director's job become in jeopardy for hires? You get what I'm saying? Or do I need to explain more?
No, I think I get you.
It seems like you need something like the Sandusky thing or something of that nature. Maybe some major scandal in your program, and then you're like gone like that.
So do you think Steve Peterson deserves to be axed from Pitt? Because there's some columnists that
I don't think you can
let's
just.
go.
I don't think you can just take football.
5
and say that.
coaches,
I think.
I mean,
I
if
think
you
the
want to count
stability
3 of
in
them.
the basketball program helps him.
Okay.
So what's your question exactly? I mean, 'cause
My
you brought-
question
you brought
is-
up Barber, so
Okay,
what's your
my question is, we're in a small town,
Yes.
per se. So we can tie Barber to more than just football and basketball.
Yeah.
But, from a national standpoint, we look at... And Barber's done great things. I mean, Williams Stadium looks great now. And, the athletic director, I think, too, is just as much responsible for fundraising at places. So, in my question, I guess, is... At what point does an athletic director deserve to have his job on the hook? And if we're only going on football and basketball, do the people of Pittsburgh care about how the Pitt Panthers baseball team is doing to where we can say, wow, Peterson made a lousy hire here too?
No, they don't.
Well, I know, but you get where I'm going?
Yeah, and I think on one reason the AD's job is very hard to get fired from is because you have to be in charge of so many programs. And yes, if let's say your football and basketball ones are screwing the pooch, there's still 20 to 30 other programs that you're responsible for. What you say? You're fired. Oh man.
Okay.
Who's gonna be run? We don't know what
All
we're
right.
doing right now.
Well, let me interrupt real
So on
quick.
some level, it's kind of like job security.
Football and basketball, though, bring in the money for your school at most places.
Yes.
If you're continuously making bad hires, your school cannot compete because you're still in the lower echelon of this thing. So,
Not until
and I'm not trying to say anybody should get fired except Steve Peterson for his mismanagement of the football program.
not until someone like a sports reporter starts the tidal wave of get rid of the AD before it gets into someone's head. Because you take the average fan, they're dumber than a bag of hammers. They don't know. They don't know the ins and outs of things. Someone's got to get it into their head. Then,
but the AD is like your general manager. I think some sports fans are smarter than we give them credit for. Some, in terms of, Dallas is a bad example. Let's go with Washington. They're kind of a bad example too. Well, no, Dan Snyder lets his football people do their work for the most part, correct?
No, I don't think so.
Let's go to San Diego then, to where A.J. Smith does a majority. I think Dean Spanos lets A.J. Smith really run the ship, per se, in terms of drafting and all that. If he's continuously bringing in bad free agents, then his job should go. Since the athletic director can't bring in the players, he's bringing in the guys that are getting the players. You get where I'm going?
I totally get what you're saying. But again, because the AD job is so much more involved than a general manager for a pro team, it's hard to get rid of them. That's why there's got to be from a groundswell to where then you get boosters. If boosters start thinking, wait a minute, because that's where it all comes from in college athletics. If the boosters don't like you, then you start.
But that's a good point.
I think too, though, is that the boosters stop donating money because you're bringing in lousy coaches, though.
But that takes a while to happen because there's still some. There are some that are just so used to giving this amount of money, like. No.
Some of those people are going to sit in their same seats for 40 years, no matter who.
Well, I just think that ADs, and I'm not saying Barber or anybody like that should be on the hot seat, but I'm just saying I don't think that ADs get as much responsibility in terms of the it's easy to fire Turner Gill after 3 years. I think we've all known my opinions on firing a coach 3 years or less. Yes. I think is absolutely stupid. But I mean, I think the AD deserves some responsibility in this, which it just seems like more often than not they don't get. Thank you for allowing me to stand on my soapbox and scream that to the masses. Did we pick on the SMU pit?
You picked SMU, I picked SMU.
32.
That's 7.
Okay.
The GoDaddy.com Bowl. Mobile, Alabama, January 28th at 9 p.m. Northern Illinois Salukis? No.
Oh, Southern Illinois Salukis. I think
they're the
Wildcats.
Wildcats? Did they used to be an Indian name?
Southern Illinois is the
Salukis. That's an Indian. Versus Arkansas State. Don't know what they are either.
They're the Red Wolves.
I thought they were the Indians.
No, not anymore. No. I think they're the Red Wolves.
Northern Illinois versus Arkansas State. Go.
We played Arkansas State this year.
Northern Illinois for 7.
That's true. You did play Arkansas State.
Give us the scouting report.
They played tight that first quarter.
They apparently have a very high-powered offense. They didn't score much.
Which is only going to get higher when Gus Malzahn gets his.
But they were coached by Mr. Blindside coach Hugh Freeze,
who's now at Ole Miss.
Yes, he coached the high school that Michael Orr went to.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting fact. I did not know
Surprised
that.
you didn't know that, Mr. Movie.
I didn't know that until I read the scouting report
That's a
before
good
the game.
question.
Red Wolves. Yeah, they are the Red Wolves.
Between you two, who is Mr. Movie?
Will sees more than I do.
I know, but you critique them more than he does. I think he doesn't have a blog.
I have Arkansas State in this game for 14.
Northern Illinois for 7. Northern Illinois, I believe, did they win the MAC title game over Ohio?
I believe so.
Yeah,
this is actually a decent game. Who was the running back from Northern Illinois that was so good a couple years ago?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't call it. Isn't he in the NFL now?
I think so.
Look it up, folks.
But I still don't understand how is that bowl game not being played before?
They've done that the last few years.
Yeah, they've seen that a lot. I mean, it's just the fact that I believe someone needs their fix.
Where's this game at?
Mobile, Alabama.
What's the I'm making sure it's not on the list before I say something stupid. Where's the what's the Motor City Bowl called now?
I think
I don't see a Motor City.
Something in Detroit?
Yeah, I saw the.
It's not the Champ Sports.
No, it's the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl, I believe. That's in Detroit.
Wasn't there an international bowl that was played in Toronto?
Yeah.
Is that not around anymore?
The Champ Sports is in I believe that's the bowl formerly known as
No, Champ Sports is in Orlando. That
used to be the Citrus Bowl, didn't it?
No, the Citrus Bowl is the Capital One Bowl. I thought that was the Car Quest. But I thought
Car Quest
was in Miami.
That was in the Meineke Car. That's Meineke Car Fair. That was in Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's now the Belk Bowl.
No, that was the Continental Tire.
This
Continental
hilarious.
Tire Bowl was in Charlotte.
Yes.
I thought the Mighty Car Care
Continental
was
Tire was the Charlotte game.
Do you remember back when UVA was in a bowl game against Miami? This has been, you might, I don't know. You
I
might
don't remember.
I think, I want to say Brooks was quarterback in UVA.
Oh, jeez.
I want to say it was in the late 90s, like 99.
Okay.
And it was the CarQuest Bowl, and I thought it was the Champ Sports, but the CarQuest Bowl might have actually been in Miami. Because I think Miami used to have 2 bowl games.
I think you're right. I think the CarQuest Bowl was in Miami.
Yeah, I think Miami used
Because
to
I
have 2
think,
bowl
well,
games.
didn't the Orange Bowl used to be in the Orange Bowl?
Yes.
And so they had one game at Joe Robbie, when it was probably what it's called then.
In the Orange Bowl, no longer.
Yeah,
In
it was.
service?
It was.
Oh, it was demolished?
Yes.
Huh, interesting. One more fact before we get out of college football.
Well, we got the national championship game.
Oh, well, yeah, we do. Well,
The
there are a
All-State
couple
BCS
facts.
National Championship game in New Orleans, Louisiana, January 9th. The Mighty Tigers LSU versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. 8:30 p.m. Go.
ESPN gets the national championship, which I find funny.
I feel very confident that LSU is going to win this game. I have them at 32.
Wow.
I think LSU is far and away the best team in college football.
I have them at 2. Just because it's hard to beat a team 2 times when you only play once normally. I don't like this. I don't
Clemson did it.
I don't like 2 teams getting out of the same.
He brought up
What? What did I say?
He said it's hard to beat a team twice. Like Clemson did it.
Preceded
Well,
by a dirty look.
It was tough. It was tough the second time until the third quarter when they scored like
We're talking about the national championship.
21. Sorry, I don't like 2 teams from the same conference within the same division of that conference playing for the national
Yeah.
championship.
Man, this is the first time that's ever happened.
I don't know who.
Well, and I would
put
think that if
in the game with them, but you know,
I would extend that out to any team that didn't win its conference. I don't
Yeah.
think should play in the national title.
but it is the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, that's the argument. I don't say Oklahoma State should have been in this game. I mean, you lost all of it when you
Yeah.
lost at Oklahoma.
Yeah, if you're not
Ohio State.
undefeated, you don't have a very solid case.
Right. And, I mean, again, if you play in the SEC with 1 loss or even 2,
Well, I think
think
Arkansas, the 2 games they lost were to LSU and Alabama.
Arkansas should have been in it because they have Bobby Petrino. And that's all I got to say about that. I agree. I mean, you could make a case for Stanford, I think. You could make a case for, but Stanford did get beat by, they got beat by Oregon, not
Yes.
USC.
At home, though.
Right. Well, that game was in Stanford.
Yes.
No kidding. Yeah, I don't know who else I would have put in other than Alabama. But interesting note. By the way, Turner Gill, new coach at Liberty. You like it?
Yeah.
Expound.
It doesn't. At first, I did not know Gill's. I did not know Gill was a religious
Oh, yeah.
person, which apparently I found out today.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He was. So at first, I'm like, good pick. Maybe you finally realized, and you know what? Christians don't win football games. So, unless you're Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Turner Gill
was
did
waiting
very
for
well at Buffalo.
Yeah, well, no, I was saying. So, but then I found out, I was like, oh, actually, I thought Gill was a,
Newbie.
in terms, I just thought he was just a.
Didn't
Should have had more
Buffalo...
time at Kansas, too.
Was he at Buffalo when they went from FCS to FBS? 'Cause
I don't
I think-
know.
I
I
think-
thought that the Buffalo is a very new program in Division
I think he started coaching the team after they already turned, but he turned the team around from from nothingness.
Right.
No, I think it's a good choice.
Not
It's-
given enough time at Kansas.
It's one of those things. It's a name that kids are familiar with.
Well, the kids' parents are at least familiar with it. 'cause
Yeah,
he
well,
was
that's all
a very
that
good
matters.
quarterback in Nebraska in the 80s.
And I wonder if, by some freak chance, if there are any students from Kansas or Kansas State, which one?
Kansas.
that liked him, and they don't have to. They don't think it would be eligibility.
Well, Liberty's been pretty good in the past, however long Rocco was there.
Yes.
At getting transfers anyway.
Yes.
I don't know how much of that was Rocco or how much of that. I have a feeling it was a little from column A, a little from column B. I think Turner Gill will do fine. The guy that gets Liberty in the playoffs, though, that's going to be the guy that gets a statue
Yeah.
or something somewhere.
But
I don't
it's
know
one of those
who's
things.
that
I give credit. Rocco knew that team was not going to be worth a damn for the next 3 to 4 years, and he didn't want to start all over. And on some level, he failed them as not getting them. They had that league gift wrapped it in for the past 5 years, and they found ways to piss it away.
Any other? You have any opinion on Turner?
No, I think it's a good hire. I agree.
Any other coaching changes you like or dislike that have been made so far? Off
I
that
circled the big ones.
You
A lot
can-
of Pac-12.
Yeah. And the Pac-12 is bringing in big names.
I like the Leach hire. I think
Uh,
he's a good coach.
A lot of, they were talking about that on the SVP show, that, they love that hire. I mean, outside of Urban, that's probably the best.
So did Mike Stoops get fired or he quit?
He got fired.
Halfway through the season.
Where is he going to go back to Oklahoma and coach with his brother?
He is being rumored to be the defensive coordinator at, I believe, Nebraska.
I mean, the ones that make you scratch your head, I think definitely Jim Mora makes you scratch your head.
I'm happy he's out of the booth.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't like he and Gottlieb got into it too, which is
Now, is this Jim
What's
Moore
that,
Jr.?
Yes.
Yeah.
So why
it's
don't
not
you
playoffs.
L Moore? Why
I don't know.
Jim Moore
I don't know. It's good.
Playoffs?
I think he's a guy that's got a little swagger though that can compete with Lane, and I think to a degree you got to trash talk Lane out there. I mean, supposedly he's trying to make this kind of, from what I hear, like Stanford, to where he wants to bring in, scholars, so to speak, because UCLA apparently is not a school for the dum-dums, from what I hear. I always thought it was. All respect to UCLA people that are listening, but
I think USC is more of the...
yeah. Okay, Scott Wilson said that, folks. You don't
Who's
have to
Jim
be smart to go to
McElwain?
USC.
Another name. I took the collar and say another name.
I don't know.
I thought he used to play for the Bullets.
I guarantee if
Played at
I
Marquette before, Jim McElwain.
if I email Farmer, he'll probably give me his entire life story plus his blood count.
I don't. I think Urban Meyer you've got to look at. I think Leach is a good hire. I think Rich Rod could be a good hire out there in Arizona. I would say Sumlin, but with Texas A&M going to the SEC,
I think these teams that go into that side of the Pac-12 that's so weak have
Which side?
a great opportunity. The one that UCLA came out of in the title game?
Wouldn't USC have come out of that side if they had been eligible?
Perhaps.
Because what is that side? USC,
It's
UCLA,
the Arizonas.
Arizona State. Who are the other two? It wouldn't be Cal.
No.
I'll get back to you on that one, people. I like Sumlin, though, a little bit. I don't know about this guy, Ole Miss. Hugh
Freeze.
He's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
blind side,
Yes.
which is funny
Which is-
because Michael
that's-
Orr went to Ole Miss
Bob Davey getting out of the booth, too, by the way, going to New Mexico. That's the one that
for a
kind of
long time.
really shocked
And
me.
Charlie Weiss is the other one that's the...
Yeah, I don't know how much I like that.
None was Orr's coach, right? At Mississippi State? Or Ole Miss?
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
Supposedly the guy at Memphis, Justin Fuente, is going to be a good one since I'm extremely concerned with the football program at Memphis. Another thing I want to touch on that I just find interesting is Stag Bowl, which is taking place on Friday night. Wisconsin, Whitewater, and Mount Union. 7th straight year they're matching up for the Division III national title.
Okay.
I got to admit I don't follow D3 football as closely as I should, but I find that pretty impressive that two teams have met 7 straight years for the national championship.
It's pretty interesting.
Does that prove that everybody else sucks, or these two are just far and away? I mean, I just think it's interesting. I don't think
No,
you
it's
can
very
find
interesting, and the worst part, it's where are the teams from again? Wisconsin. One's from Wisconsin.
the other
Mount
one from
Union's in
Pennsylvania.
Ohio.
Or Ohio.
Ohio.
Same thing.
And they got to travel to Salem, frickin'
Yep.
VA, and a crowd of
City of
people.
Champions.
Yeah.
Stag Bowl's actually got decent attendance. I've been there
I-
once or twice.
See, but it's just, kind of wish it was someone closer just to...
Funny that it got postponed for a few hours. 2 years ago? Remember when we had that big snow on a Saturday? They had to postpone the Stag Bowl like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
It was a hoot.
Does Division III have like an 18 playoff? Is that
They do have a tournament. I don't know how many teams are in it. But a tournament for football, what an idea.
Yeah. It's a weird concept.
Isn't it though?